Folks, it seems President Ramaphosa is a lot more like Donald Trump than he wants to admit or realize. Donald Trump likes to use social media to engage the world. Well, Ramaphosa is responding to the world with social media. The Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor, DLR, a part of the State Department, recently traveled to South Africa to assess the situation related to rural insecurity and farm murders in particular. They returned to the States and published a tweet with several sub-tweets below it, bemoaning the nature of farm murders, the brutality of it in South Africa, and referring to some statistics from AfriForum, which they collected. Today, there was a government official who refuted that, saying that, well, their information is unreliable, and then Ramaphosa did the same thing. This is not going to endear him to Donald Trump, not going to endear him at all, denying that these farm murders are taking place, that there's anything unique about them. In fact, they're very unique. They involve torture. They involve clear efforts of domestic terrorism to chase people off of the land. There's no doubt about it. Also, Ramaphosa claims that they issued a report, but they haven't issued a report publicly that we're aware of. I've just checked their website again. There's no public report there. The last thing they did was the Human Rights Report, which is an annual requirement. But there's no report published this year from this trip. So he is responding to media reports using social media without having the facts. There's no report here. We don't know what the report is. It'll probably be published, but at this point it has not been published. So Ramaphosa is responding to something that doesn't exist. And he's disputing or refuting the information, claiming that they're using unreliable statistics from AfriForum and that the statistics from the South African Police Service are reliable. But of course, we know they're not reliable. For several years, the South African government refused to report crime statistics because crime was so bad over a decade ago. They simply hid the reports, violating the law, not publishing them for the public. Now they publish reports and they hide crimes. Yes, they do. I have a police report from a farm murder in Brits on a farm last month, in which they list that crime report as a house robbery. Trespassing, breaking and entering, assault and battery, attempted murder, and eventually murder. Yeah, but house robbery is what this is listed there. So Ramaphosa is responding to media reports which are not accurate. To our knowledge, there is no report published yet. There's probably a trip report and a report forthcoming that's inside the State Department, which will likely probably be briefed to Secretary Rubio and maybe even make it across the desk of President Trump. And now Ramaphosa is trying to rubbish what they said and what they discovered in South Africa before the report's even published. This is a government that's panicking. They're pretending to be calm, but they're panicking. Why? Because they've neglected the safety of black, white, and brown South Africans in rural areas for years, allowing terror to reign, calling it ordinary crime, which it's not. What say you, South Africa? Mzansi. Cheers.